Hey and welcome, msKIRAspeaks. Before we get started, I ask that you watch the videos till the end, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. If you haven't checked out my last video, your girl is back. I was missing, I was sick, I was quarantining. I'm just on my way out of quarantine shortly, so as I'm feeling a little bit better, I'm doing what I can. So keep your notifications on. Still playing catch up. We're here for another episode of Power Book 2, Ghost Season 2, Episode 4, Getting These Ends. So as the episode opens, Professor Carrie, she's standing outside in the dark, just outside the woods, calling Zeke. And we're gonna open the episode with a I might not never moment. Really? Y'all black folks, y'all gonna learn about them woods. Stay out of them. So she texts him and asks him where he is, and then she finally decides to get her happy ass back in the car. Almost there, he texts back, we gonna do air quotes, and then somebody busts out her window. It's Monet, of course. I told you to stop effing my nephew, but you just couldn't listen. So she asked if Jabari found out about her and Zeke. Did you kill him? No, she was with Zeke the night Jabari was murdered. Find out who killed that professor. After Monet gives her orders, Carrie just sits in the car and cries. She ain't learned nothing from Jabari. Don't be next, Carrie. Don't be next. And Davis is in his office. He's car shopping. He's looking at McLarens. He's looking at Ferraris. And Sax is like, they both scream douchebag to me. And Davis is like, Jenny seems like a Portia kind of girl. When Tariq comes in, they're trying to arrest Zeke Cross for Jabari's murder. And he needs Davis to do everything in his power to make sure that doesn't happen. Davis says Aunt Monet said that they didn't need a lawyer and they didn't want one. And Sax wants to know why Zeke is Tariq's problem. Tariq tells them that they found the NYPD officer's weapon at the murder scene and that is the murder weapon. Sax wants to know how, and Davis is like, listen, it sounds like a legend of cover-up to me. Tariq's like, yep, you need to roll with that. But Sax just has to know why he cares so much about Zeke. You know Sax, he can't help himself. I keep Zeke out of trouble. I stay in school. I will do anything to protect my future. Monet, she'll do anything, pay anything to protect Zeke. Davis wants Sax to get, the information from Jenny to find out if this is legit about, whether it's true or not about the alleged murder weapon. So Carrie, she's on her way to see the dean. Detective Kevin, he's on his way too. Tate and Stern are there, and Tate is to take over as the liaison between the NYPD investigation of Professor Reynolds' murder and the university, taking over Carrie's position for obvious reasons. Stern tells Whitman that they're tarnishing their star player and Stansfield's brand, and he wants to know why. Tate points out that Zeke has no history of violence and not so much as a traffic ticket. So why is he a prime suspect? Stern says, if you have evidence against Zeke, arrest him. If you don't, stop harassing him. Carrie says he has no evidence, and Detective Kevin says he has motive. Tate calls Professor Carrie out as to what motive might he have. And she starts singing. Well, the GTG member who was murdered, that gang deals in narcotics. I saw in Jabari's notebook, he had written about a potential drug pipeline on campus. Really, Carrie? So the dean says they'll authorize a discreet sweep of the dorms, and if they find nothing worthwhile, I'll need you to go on your way, is what Stern tells Whitman. Whitman's like, I don't take orders from you. Oh, detective, everyone takes orders from me. I'll remind the commissioner of that when we have dinner later this week. Stern, he's such a jerk, but in this case, we like him because we don't like Whitman. Outside, Tate tells Carrie that, listen, I heard you talking to Whitman about Zeke. You are the connective tissue. Carrie turns it around and is like, aren't you supposed to be the great black crusader? He points out, listen, I know you and that detective have some history. That's a messy situation, but I'm intrigued. How heroic it will be if you help prove Zeke's innocence. That's how you win elections. Carrie on a deflect. So Davis, he meets with Monet. They're at the bar. $1 million is his price. You think I'm stupid? You want that full court press for Zeke, a media coverage so complete it'll bias every potential juror within a 100-mile radius. That costs money, lots of it. So Monet opens the safe only to find there's nothing there but the gun. Davis is like, listen, I'm going to need this money in 3 days to make ish happens. So the guy that was supposed to be fixing the window, we see him, he's bloodied, laying on the ground, missing an ear, and he insists that he did not break into her safe. The conversation doesn't go much of anywhere, and it ends with him shot dead. So when Monet gets home to talk to the kids, she tells them that when she opened the safe to give Davis the money, it's gone. She asks if they know anything about it, and Diana is looking guilty AF as everyone else says no. Drew, he points out that the contractors have been in and out. And she tells them they got to come up with $1 million in 3 days so that Davis can take Zeke's case. Let's get this money, she says. And she leaves Drew to babysit Zeke. And he ain't happy about it. So as they're about to roll out, Diana texts Davis, can you transfer the money I gave you for Lorenzo over to Zeke's case? Absolutely not. Already in motion on your father, he responds with the quickness. I can even hear him saying it. And I knew Diana took that money, got that man killed for nothing. What I want to know is, why didn't she think that Monet was going to find out the money was missing? Like, how long did you think that was going to take? Anywho, Tariq and Lauren, they walk into class, they holding hands like they're in high school. Tate and Professor Carrie come in, they're ready to start the class and talk about the papers on whether the ends justify the means. Tate says he was disappointed in Tariq's answer, and Tariq's like, your question was flawed. If you're doing it right, no one should be worried about how you did it. Carrie says that some found it justified to cross ethical lines in their analysis if their action was benefiting someone else, but not yourselves. And Lauren says, there are some boundaries that you just shouldn't cross, but what if it's to protect yourself? Wouldn't the ends justify the means in a life and death situation? Tariq answers, I always got to get my notes in when it comes to class. They be on it. So Jenny comes in, she introduces Kamaal to Detective Kevin. He'll be assisting on Jabari's case. Any relationship to Councilman Rashad Tate? It's my brother, but I assure you we are here for the same reason. We are putting aside any biases to find the real killer. I found the real killer. This is what Detective Kevin says. So much for putting aside biases. So Kamaal wants to know how he arrived at that motive. Professor Carrie was having an affair with both Zeke and the murder victim. Kamaal points out that the report from the NYPD says an officer's gun was found at the scene, and now Officer Ramirez is missing. Kamaal is ready to go to work, okay? He is on his job, he is ready to go. But Kevin, Detective Kevin, he's on some BS, so they're going back and forth, and Jenny's like, she's trying to diffuse the situation. You guys might get along better if we all work together. So he's like, listen, he sends Kamaal to help with the dorm sweeps that they were supposed to be doing to see if there was any connection between the murder. So Kane meets with Mecca and he tells him, listen, I have got a personal emergency, but I can still do the run for you too. So Mecca's like, listen, what is so important? He says, I have 3 days to pay $1 million to help my cousin Zeke. All right, family's that important to you? Let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone. There's a guy, Mahoney, trying to move into my territory. Mecca wants him gone, but more than that, he wants all of his money. Clean his fronts, and whatever you make over $50K, you can use to help Zeke. Kane, he's all over it. So, guys, quick conversation, but every little bit of this episode gives you a little something. So Yaz calls Tariq. She wants out. She wants to be with her brother, but in the meantime, she wants some rainbow scratchers Big Mama gets from the store with all the bottles and stickers in the windows. That will be important later. So Kane is in Tariq's room waiting when Brayden comes in, as everybody wants to know, everybody and their mothers pointed it out, how does everybody get into these dorms so easily? So Brayden says he doesn't know where Tariq is. He hasn't answered his calls all day, and Kane manipulates Brayden to come help him out. Like, nah, this is a job for Tariq. Nah, I can do it. Brayden a sucker sometimes. She's pillow talking again with Sax, but this time it doesn't even look like they made it to the bed. And she's annoyed with them sending Kamaal in, and it feels like Rashad has an agenda. Sax tells her, you need to think about your agenda. You're exposed here. Jenny calls Carrie messy for playing a saint while she's sleeping with her student. And Sax points out, listen, I'm effing my legal rival. Kamaal is your cover. Call him, get on his good side. You may need him later. You're smarter than you look. So when she leaves, that is his opportunity to go look in her briefcase for evidence that Ramirez's gun was in fact the murder weapon. And he does just that. So Kamaal is questioning Lauren about the drugs that they found in her room. Doggone Bruchandria. Bruchandria left that thing, got that girl caught up. Lauren says she's not snitching over a few pills that ain't hers. So Professor Carrie comes in and she tries to defuse the situation. And she and Kamaal, they go out in the hallway to talk. Professor Carrie has done it all. Now, I knew she used to work for the DA, but apparently she was also in law enforcement. So incentivizing cooperation requires you to know the right buttons to push. So Professor Milgram, she goes to talk and do poor Lauren dirty. She tells her to think about your future, your family, your career. She wouldn't want them to trump up the charges and for it to go on her record, affecting her chances at a grad school, applying for places to live, your entire future. We're rich kids. She convinces Lauren to wear a wire and all this will go away. Your record will stay spotless and your parents will never know. And this is where she got her. And I can assure you, young adults, hear me loud and clear. 9 times out of 10, in situations like this, your parents are the lesser of the two evils, because kids, they used to be so afraid of their parents finding out that they'll do foolish things like this and get themselves into these situations that they can't get out of. Her parents have money and power. They could have easily got her out of the situation, and all she would have had to do is hear them out. So like young adults, listen, knowledge is power. Go to your parents. Don't have the cops be like, oh, we can keep this away from your parents. That's how you always get tripped up. Listen to your girl. So Tariq, he meets with the lawyer for the state, good old Elvin, where they're discussing Big Mama spending Yasmin's money at a liquor store. He wants to take Yasmin out of her care, and the lawyer says, listen, Yas was still making it to school. Yes, her grades dropped a little, but that's to be expected after Tasha's departure. So he's like, you really want to take your grandmother to court? Yes, Elvin, he does. And he threatens to have him removed as conservator, so he gives Tariq his support. Brayden is driving Kane around. Kane tells him, listen, keep the car running. As Kane goes to do what he do, some guy comes over and he looks like he's about to carjack Brayden. He's got a gun behind his back. He wants to know, who in there. He's like, Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Mike, the guys. Brayden, he's a mess. So he tells him to get out the car. And then all of a sudden we hear gunshots, glass is breaking. Kane runs out, shoots the guy, hops in the car, tells Brayden to drive. Guys are shooting as they drive away, and Brayden is loving every moment of it. So Monet, she's wrapping up her conjugal with Lorenzo, and Lorenzo's like, yo, what's up? You got your ask me for something nails on. Lorenzo got jokes. So she tells him that Davis needs $1 million for Zeke's defense by tomorrow. Lorenzo is like, he's effing crazy in Spanish. So she says she needs his signature to mortgage the house. They'll get the money back after he's cleared, and he goes to the draft. But Lorenzo says, absolutely effing not. You do it for if one of our kids were in trouble, and he agrees he would, but they're not. And he's not about to do it for their nephew. It took them long enough to dig themselves out of his financial situation when he ended up there. And she's like, listen, I hardly ask you for anything. But he says his final answer is no. So as she's leaving, she annoys. He tells her, listen, why don't you use the money that's stashed at the bar? She says, okay, before she walks out. And she don't tell him that money is gone. I want to know, how did Diana explain to him where she got the money from for his lawyer? Like, nobody just wondered. Anywho, because he knows that she got her. The dad knows that Diana got him the lawyer and not the mom. Come on. So Drew leaves his babysitting post with Zeke to go get some from Everett, and they're watching the team's protest video in their afterglow. And it turns out the coach had also set up a GoFundMe, and that was going to be Drew's contribution to help raise funds for Zeke's defense. But the good times are about to come to an end. Everett reveals he told 2 of Zeke's professors part of what happened the night that they got jumped. He tried not to say anything, but he may have mentioned Drew's name. So Drew's pissed. He throws on his clothes. He's out of there. Effie and Diana, they looking all cute. They're in one of these high-end stores, and they're gonna go buy clothes with the clone credit cards and sell them to Effie's boost man. Now, I don't know how much money they thought they was gonna make between the two of them, but that's none of my business. So they talk about Diana going to school, and she asks about Effie's parents. Effie's like, listen, my parents leave me alone. I leave them alone. You know, I'm good on my own. So she's trying to tell her not to F with Tariq. And Effie says Tariq can't be trusted, and she's not ready for that type of dude. And I guess we just gonna overlook the fact that she screwed Tariq over first. And trust me, I am not Team Tariq. So Diana tells her, listen, don't worry about it. Monique has put her on to Game, and she wants her first time to be with the right person. So Effie, she's in this whole conversation, she's in her feelings talking about Tariq. That was the moral of that story. So Drew comes back to find Zeke. He's sitting outside on the porch. Some reporter is chewing his ear off. Drew tells Zeke to go inside. Zeke like, nah, it's cool. So then the reporter starts talking cash money-ish. Zeke, your uncle Lorenzo Tejada is in prison for manslaughter. Is it fair to say that murder runs in the family? And why he say that? Drew and his anger issues puts them paws on that man. Zeke had to run out and grab him and separate the two. So Monet gets home. She's underwhelmed. Hell, she is downright pissed by how little they have made towards Zeke's defense. They have to pay Davis tomorrow, and this ain't nearly enough. Kane's like, Ma, I got another lick tonight. She's like, oh, thank you, baby. But you think that's gonna pay that's gonna pay another $750K? Damn, that's a lot of money left. So she goes off on Zeke, and what were you doing leaving the house and then coming back kicking man's behind? She's hot, but Drew is annoyed because he says he raised the most money to pay Davis. So salty, he storms off. He's going out. Davis is coming in. He coming in with the jokes. Oh, you're not going to knock me out, are you? So the reporter that Drew assaulted turns out works as a subsidiary of Sports Media World. They want Zeke to do an interview, and they won't press charges. A sit down with Jemele Hill. Monet is stressed. She should be. So Brayden gets back to the room, and for a change, Tariq asks him where he's been. He lies and says he was some girl from Bio, but he tells Tariq, listen, Lauren can't know about our business. He's like, no worries. She's got a single. We'll be chilling in her room. It'll all be fine. So he shows Brayden some video footage, and apparently he had bribed a cashier to get the footage. This is where I said the Yaz thing about her winning the Rainbow Scratchers will come into play. It's Big Mama. She's loaded up on her wine and whatnot. She got like two big old boxes of wine. Yaz walks in, she grabs her, she snatches her, she gives her a little shove. So Brayden, he's ready to chill with Tariq and, just unwind. But Kane comes calling, so Brayden lies, he gotta go. He shows up at a jewelry store, Brayden that is, the store is closing. And he's like, he needs to get an anniversary present for his girlfriend. And the guy, he reluctantly tells him, listen, you got 10 minutes. He's like, that's all we need. That's what he says at first. Then he catches himself. But the man, I guess he don't notice. So Brayden, he's talking about the price of a piece. Talking about the price of one of the pieces, when Kane comes in, he shoots out the cameras. And as everybody who watched the show noticed, when he came in, Brayden, there was a sign that said in the window that said, all activity is digitally monitored from off premises. So Brayden pulls out his strap, tells him don't move. Kane, he's smashing and grabbing. The man goes to grab his piece. Brayden pulls the trigger, but it jams. So he gun butts him instead. And Kane's like, listen, I jammed the gun because I ain't need you to shoot anybody. So as they run out, Kane tells him like, listen, you can keep it. So Kamaal, he's got footage of the bodega next to Professor Carrie's house. And there's that guy, Zeke. Looks like Zeke's alibi checks out. But Detective Kevin insists that Zeke paid Ramirez to do his dirty work, and Ramirez has left town. Davis and Tariq, they show up at the Tejada house. So Davis wants to know what Tariq's gotten him into. Tariq's like, let's just go with the money, make it do what it do. Davis has the questions that Jemele plans to ask, and Tariq is going to prep Zeke. Memorize the answers, stick to the script, no deviations, no freestyling. So we see Zeke, he's at the interview and he's sticking to the script. Everyone is in their respective locations watching. You have Davis with the Tejadas, Carrie with Tate, Tariq with Lauren. So far, so good. They verify Zeke's alibi, and then Jemele goes off script. When they mention Ramirez, Kane starts cracking his neck. I think it was the weapon. Monet, she peeps that. At the station, Kamaal and Detective Kevin and Jenny are watching, and Kamaal wants to know how they got the information like nobody knew. Detective Kevin, he starts cracking his neck. At first, Zeke is adjusting, but not for long. Monet wants him out of there, but David says it's live, and if he pulls him, he looks guilty. For all the money they spent, David should have been sitting right there next to him. First, he says he doesn't know Ramirez, but then she brings up the PBA card, so he's like, oh, he's a fan. But not so fast. They did their research, and he's never been to a game. The theory is that he paid Ramirez, and Zeke's like, this is some bullshit. This is over. So he's leaving. And as he's leaving, it ain't looking so good. He just continues to say, this is some bullshit. I'm just here to talk about basketball. Oh, Zeke. So Tariq tells Lauren that he knows for a fact that Zeke didn't do it. And I can't remember if she was wearing that bug watch or not. Zeke comes into the room with the rest of the Tejadas, and Davis confronts Jamel. And she's like, listen, I'm a journalist. I don't work for you. Good luck. Monet tells Diana to take Zeke home, and Davis tells them that the DA wants Zeke to turn himself in the morning. So Kane, he's trying to sneak off, and Monet's like, nah, not so fast. Follow me to Forest Park. And she wants to know why Ramirez's gun was doing at Jabari's crime scene. What did you do, Kane? And he admits that he followed Tariq, and that, he was right. Tariq was telling the professor his business, and he heard him say Drew's name, so he did what he do. Monet is mad, and that he didn't tell her the whole time, and she smacks the taste straight on out his mouth. Kane hopes that she gives Tariq that same energy. So, he's like, he's the one that took the kill shot. It was his idea to put it on Ramirez. He took the gun. Monet says, hear me and hear me clearly. Go and get Ramirez's body. This will clear Zeke. Kane's like, what if it backs up on me? You made your choice. She tells him it is what it is. So as Kane walks away, she gets a text from Davis that Zeke's bill has been paid in full. Tariq James St. Patrick, open this goddamn door right now. It's Big Mama and she is hot. So my grandson, the local thug, thinks he's gonna steal custody of Yasmin from me. And Tariq's like, listen, you need help. Let me pay for rehab. And she's like, Raina would be ashamed of you. Every evil that has befallen on this family is because of you. You think you're going to let my grandbaby go the same way? I'll die first, and I'll see you in court. And I mean, she ain't wrong, but Big Mama did need some rehab, and I wish there were some other options for poor Yasmin, because it is not looking so good, baby girl. So Mecca tells Kane that he's done a good job. He wants to get to work, with the whole Mahoney situation. And he's like, listen, I got to make a big move for my cousin and leave town. Mecca's like, think about it. Isn't there somebody else that you can blame it on? A failsafe, just in case. Why does Mecca know everything? So Everett has been blowing Drew up. Drew goes over to see what's up. He now thinks that Zeke has done it. He doesn't know what to believe. Drew is like, I want to work this out. I'm going to give you one opportunity to ask me what you want about my family. Make it count. Did your family have anything to do with Professor Reynolds' murder? Absolutely not. Or at least as far as he knows. Does your family sell drugs? I don't think I can trust you with that answer, which, I mean, that is the answer, Drew. Everett seems like, he's down with it. He's going to accept it. Drew tells him you can never do anything like you did again. But I don't think that Everett's going to make it, y'all. So Monet, she goes to pay Dante or Mecca a visit. And she's like, I wondered why you showed up now. She tells him, I know you paid Davis $1 million. Why? He's like, why? What am I supposed to tell my husband about another man paying my nephew's $1 million bill? Maybe tell him I did what I needed to do to protect our son. Suspenseful music and mic drop. I didn't know how to tell you. You don't have to explain. I know why you felt you had to do things the way you did, but that's over now. What you did, what I did doesn't compare to the life that I can give you. He tells her you don't have to struggle. He doesn't need her to be the woman that Lorenzo needed her to be, and that he intends to keep all his promises. He wants to take care of her and her kids. We need to fight for Zeke, blah, blah. Let's take care of our son together. They kiss. Everybody thought Dante or Mecca was Kane's dad, but Courtney told y'all no. This was her solution. And I know everybody is bothered because Zeke does not appear in any way, shape, or form to be older than Kane, but I guess this is what they're giving us, and maybe we'll get more information when the season picks up. So Kane, he brings Brayden to go dig up this damn body. Brayden is worried that Kane was trying to take him out, but no. Lauren wants Tariq to explain why he left earlier. He puts on that St. Patrick charm and he sweet talks her. She opens her arms, she kisses him. Tariq notices her bugged Rolex. I mean, he doesn't notice it's bugged, but he does notice it's new. He thinks it's from her parents. She goes in the bathroom to take it off and leaves it in the cab, but I think mainly she just didn't want them to hear her getting it on. But anyway, Kamaal tells Detective Kevin he found something in the novel that Jabari was working on and he's going to want to see, but he gets a phone call and they found the body that they believe to be Ramirez. The body's been dead about 2 weeks. They can't really tell, but it has Ramirez's ID, and there goes Kevin's theory. So back in the room, Brayden, he needs some ginger ale and maybe some saltines from helping Kane dig up that body. And I don't know why he took Brayden to do that, but he did. Kane asks where Tariq is. Brayden tells him, he's probably with his girl, but he's got to run to the bathroom. And Kane plants Ramirez's badge in what looks like Tariq's drawer. Kane, you dirty mother father. So he tells Brayden, I'll see you tomorrow, and tell Tariq I'll be seeing him too. That's where we end. The episode had a lot of people talking. Put your thoughts down in the comment. I hope that you'll come back and join me for my review for episode 5 when I get that up. If you made it this far, put a wow emoji face in the comments for the 2 mic drop moments. While you're here, please check out some of my other content. Thank you, thank you. And before you go, please like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you. Peace.